What up? What up? What up? Welcome back to the scorecard, the boxing scorecard. I am your host, Cedric Benn. Today we are going to go through the WBA featherweight title that yesterday in the UK between the challenger, Mick Conlan. I'll give you his quick stats real quick. Coming into this fight, his record was he was undefeated, 16-0 with 8 knockouts. So not exactly known as a power puncher, but definitely high skilled. He competed in 2016 Olympics where he had a controversial loss. It was a close fight, but it was he felt he should have won. He was the one who stuck his middle fingers up at the judges. That picture went viral after those Olympics. Um, and this was his big coming out party against Leigh Wood, the champion, sporting a record coming into the fight of 25-2 with 16 KOs. Leigh Wood known more as a pressure power puncher, and yeah, so that was the interesting contrast of styles going into this fight. It was back and forth. It was back and forth like that. I'm glad I got to score this one. It almost ended. It almost ended in the first round. Actually, well, before we get the breakdown of each round, um, going into the last round, the judges had it. The judges had Conlan up by 3 points. The other two, one judge had Conlan up by 3 points. The other two judges had Conlan up by 1 point. So Conlan either had to win that last round to secure the fight. If Leigh Wood would have won the round just by boxing and winning that round on just boxing like that, the fight would have been declared a majority draw. So that everything was riding on that last round. Going into the last round, I had it pulling up my scorecard here. I had Conlan up by 3 points. I had it 105-102 for Conlan going into that last round. All right, so let's get a breakdown of each round right now. The fight actually almost ended in the first round with at the end of the first round with a big overhand left from Conlan. Not a big like looping overhand left. It was more it was straight, but the way he set it up, he was doing the high low, what I like to call the high low for most of the round, jab to the head and across to the body. And Wood's reaction to that to the body, was to drop both of his hands. So he was going high low, and then at the end of the round, Conlan dipped low like he was coming to the body and just brought it up top. Boom. The way Wood went down, his leg was all messed up, landed flat on his back. I thought it was over, the way he landed. But much respect to Leigh Wood, that he showed that he could take a shot and come back. That wasn't just a shot; that was a bomb. Most people wouldn't be coming back from that. So much respect to Leigh Wood for getting up from that at the end of that round. So obviously that was a 10-8 round for Conlan. The second round, I also gave to Conlan. Leigh Wood, he basically survived. I'm going through my notes. Wood survived. Conlan taking it to the body. Conlan was doing the high low to the body. He was landing that shot to the body, but Wood, he was able to survive. There was one or two times where he looked like he could have, if Conlan would have landed better, or maybe a little bit more, he could have, or maybe he should have set it up a little bit a different way. But again, going into the fight, a lot of people were not expecting Conlan to drop Leigh Wood because he only had 50% stoppage, and he's still early in his career. Usually, especially guys with that high skill level, usually early in their careers, they have a few more knockouts just from the skill level just being so much higher than the competition. When you're starting out your career. Anyways, Wood survived that second round. Going into the third one, I gave the third round to Conlan again, but I marked it as a close round. I didn't write any notes for it, but I marked it as a close round. Fourth round, I also marked as a close round. No notes there. The fifth round, I guess the first 5 rounds I gave to Conlan. The notes that I had for the fifth round was Conlan's skills. Conlan's skills were high level, Wood power punches, but not enough yet. And again, you can clearly see that Conlan's skill level was higher. Um, but the shots, he was just landing like single shots. Wood, you can see Wood's punches. He wasn't throwing enough, but the effect of them were you could definitely see them. But Conlan, his shots were just way cleaner, and not as effective. Again, only eight, only 50% stoppage rating. So Wood probably had a little bit more confidence, even though he got dropped in that first round. He probably still had confidence that he could walk him down because of that. Um, Going into the sixth round, the sixth round was the first round I gave to Wood. So it was really the second half of the fight that Wood took it over. But I did mark it as a close round. My notes for the sixth round: Wood barely. I barely gave the round to Wood. Conlan still landing accurate shots. If he had more power, it would be scary. That was my notes that I wrote for the sixth round, because again, Conlan was landing some clean shots on Wood, and Wood just took him and was coming back. Um, so yeah, if Conlan had a little bit more power, it might have stopped it earlier. Round seven, I also gave to Leigh Wood. Also marked it as a close round. No notes for that. Round eight, I gave to Conlan. So at this point, it's 78-73. Round nine, gave to Conlan. My notes for round nine: Conlan was doing his thing, backing it most of the time, though, keeping Wood in the fight. Yeah, that was the thing. And I think this is around round nine is when um, Conlan was showing little bit signs of fatigue, because even though he was still landing his clean shots, every time he was done, he would just back up and back himself into the ropes. Because he has good footwork, and was moving around. Like, even he had his lead hand down. There was no problem with his lead hand being down. And he had good defense like that. But after he would land, he would just back up, and that's when Conlan would back up into the ropes and stay there for a second, and that's when Wood would have most of his success. And I love listening to the coaches in between rounds, because I love hearing what the coaches is trying to get the boxers to say, and then to see if the boxers are actually going to do it. I forget his name, but Conlan's coach, he was straight up telling him, "You're letting Wood stay in the fight by going against the ropes," and that was really the what was helping Leigh Wood get back into the fight. It was really Conlan. It wasn't, again, much respect to Leigh Wood, but it was more so of the mistake of what Conlan was doing that was helping Leigh Wood get back into the fight. Again, Conlan landing the good shots and then just backing up into the ropes, blocking and dodging about 3 or 4 punches, but also taking 3 or 4 punches after that from not being able to defend himself. Um, that was round nine. Going into round 10, again, at 10 and 11, I gave to Leigh Wood. So my notes for round 10: Wood fought very hard, landed more combos, Con against the ropes again. So this is where the tables started to turn a little bit extra for Leigh Wood, because Conlan was just doing it more and more. I said round nine was around the time Conlan was starting to show a little bit of signs of fatigue. Round 10, they were way more visible. Like, he was backing up. You could see him like mouth open, breathing, facial expressions. Like, you try to keep a straight face the whole time to not show any signs to your opponent. Conlan's facial expressions were showing signs that he was tired. And once again, even though he was doing his thing, the fatigue was getting to him. And Leigh Wood showed heart. Leigh Wood showed two things that you can't teach. You can't teach someone, like, if you get hit with a hard shot, like, it's up to the person to decide to shake it off and come back. Some people feel that, and then they kind of may take that knee and don't want to continue. You can't teach that, and you can't teach that heart that you need, that Leigh Wood showed in that 10th and 11th round, when he was losing the fight but still pressing forward and still doing more to land those combinations. What are my notes for round 10? Yeah, Wood was landing more of the combinations that he was throwing. Yeah, man, and his heavy hands. Not the skill level wasn't as good as Conlan's, but just the pressure. The pressure was more. Round 11, I marked as a close round. So going into the 11th round, it was 97-92. And then round 10, round 11, I marked it as a close round because it was barely for Wood because I actually had Wood losing that round. Um, but he Conlan got knocked down close to the end of the round. Now, you know, it was a slip, but the slip was caused after he got hit with a punch. So you could see you can clearly see both things on the replay. On the replay, you could see his foot slip, but what happened before that, he got hit with a punch and then his foot slipped. So yeah, you have to count. Even though I had Wood Conlan winning that round up until that point, simple man. You get knocked down. It's not in every situation. Just because you get knocked down, it's automatic 10-8. Because if you're whooping the guy's ass and then he just kind of drops you, I guess you can still mark it. I don't know. I guess I'd have to double check that. I'm not sure if you automatically have to mark it as a 10-8 round or if you can have that mark it as a 10-9 if it was still close. So anyways, I marked that as a 10-8 round for Wood just because of that. And then in that 12th round, yeah, man, it was. I wish I had a video or a camera of my facial expression when that happened. It was close, back and forth. The crowd's yelling. Both guys throwing combinations, and then once again, Conlan backs himself into the ropes. Boom, boom. He blocked most of them, and he just turned his head for a second and got caught with a shot that he didn't see. Right before I got on today, I just watched an interview with Conlan this morning, and he said he didn't see that shot. The shot that he saw afterwards from the replay, he didn't see it coming because the other shots. Because the reporter asked him if he what about Wood's power, and he said I forget his exact words, but basically he said the shots that he was seeing coming didn't really have an effect, but in all cases, not just in this case, it's the ones that you don't see coming. So he was again, and his own fault for backing himself into the ropes, which is really the only time that Wood had the success was when Conlan would do it to himself. Backed himself into the ropes, blocked the first two shots, just barely turned his head and got caught with the one that he didn't see, and he went backwards, dive out the ropes like how Bernard Hopkins went out against Joe Smith. It's always a dangerous, scary situation. But again, I just saw an interview with him this morning. He's out of the hospital. He's good. So that is the most important thing. And yeah, there you have it. Yeah, man. So I'm not sure who we got next week, but yeah, that is the scorecard for today. And I believe I got to double check with my boy Mike, but most likely that will also be the KO of the week. So make sure you look for that this afternoon at 4 p.m. KO of the week with my boy Mike Gore at 4. So there you have it. The scorecard with your host Cedric Benn. Please like, subscribe, make your comments, and make your scorecards too. If there's any fighters or any fights, old school fights, that's the other thing I'm gonna do too. Every once in a while, like there's usually fights on every Saturday, but every once in a while, if there's no fight on, I might go through like an old school fight and score that one, rescore that one, and then talk about that on the Sunday show. All right. So there you have it. Like, share, subscribe, tell everyone you know about it. Every day at 4, my boy Mike Gore, he has a different prospect that he shows, an up and coming prospect, and that's the only thing that you're gonna get on this network, the channel, on YouTube and the website too. This is the only place where you're gonna find this type of content. Every day at 4 o'clock, he talks about a different prospect from around the world, someone that's up and coming before they become a big star. So you could hear about it first before they become big. All right, man. I will catch you guys this afternoon, actually, for the KO of the week. All right. Peace.